Fitness, get them running as much as possible. Balance exercises, push-ups. You never screamed like that. I knew something was horribly, horribly wrong. You are your best children's advocate. You know them the best. You know how they're feeling, if they're not feeling right, if they're upset, if something's going on.
Welcome back. Today, I'm very excited to be talking with my mom about health for your children. And how do you think about both creating positive health in your children and then what do you do when something goes wrong? So, let's talk a little bit about creating positive health. So, how do you think about nutrition, fitness for your kids?
Well, I think it's important, if you can, to grow something, to have them learn how to grow a green bean or a strawberry. And then they can go to the store and see that they can do that. And it's just exciting and fun to grow something. And then just discovering new fruits and vegetables when you go to the farmer's market, when you go to the store, a recipe, look online, see something fun they want to try, and do it.
Yeah, I think that's really cool because that makes food less a it's it's vegetables and more of an adventure and something that they're bought into. And that's some of the really good advice that I've heard too, is that bring your child along in that, so it's their decision as well, which is again building good habits for their life, but then also making them want to eat the things that are maybe not as fun as mac and cheese. How did you stop us from becoming picky eaters?
We ate everything. I never ordered a kid's meal at all for you. I'd cut off some off of my plate, or your dad would, or we would order something special, to try as a family. And then we would choose different countries. And if we saw Japan, we would go eat sushi and learn something about the country and go learn about the culture and eat the food and see that we weren't just chicken nuggets kind of people. Chicken nuggets and French fries and
Which
pizza.
Did we ever go through a phase of more selective eating? And then if we did, how did you get us out of that?
I don't remember you doing selective eating because I didn't give you really the option. I mean, if you felt like peanut butter and jelly that day, you had a peanut butter and jelly. But tomorrow you would have lasagna. We'd make a lasagna and you'd eat it, just trying different foods and having that experience to try that. And if you didn't like it, I never made you eat it. I never made you finish your plate. I always just tried to give you different things and you fell in love with everything.
So you did mention not making us finish our plates. I think that's also a very common thing that happens. Why did you choose to do that? And then what did you do instead to make sure we were getting the right amount of food?
Well, with exercise, they're going to be hungry. So with hunger, they're going to eat. So I just made sure that you had good snacks, like hummus and carrots and broccoli and ranch dressing, if that's what you wanted, before you eat your meal. If you were hungry, you had a drawer of snacks in the refrigerator that you could go grab, a cheese stick or applesauce or whatever. Then
So you did let us snack in between.
Absolutely, if you're hungry, because if I'm hungry, I snack. Why would I limit you as a child to something that you would want to do yourself as an adult? So I let you tell me when you're hungry.
Which again is a really good lifelong skill.
You have to know your body and honor that. I just think it's good to go to try different foods. I think it's so important.
Agreed.
Yes.
I mean, now I like lots of different foods. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, anything else on nutrition?
Obviously learned a lot about nutrition as much as I could. I knew that sugar lowered your immune system for 8 hours. So if you gave them a sugary breakfast, a sugary lunch, a sugary dinner, that they were going to be susceptible to sickness all day long. So general nutrition, and I would take you to the grocery store, and if you want the ding dongs, I'd say, oh great, if you can read the ingredients, we'll buy it. And you could never read the ingredients because, not picking on ding dongs, but it has a lot of chemicals, a lot of the sweets that are very attractive to kids. I would just say, oh well, that's fascinating. Let's go home and make cupcakes, and we'll put some white icing inside and simulate it. And you knew what was in there versus what was in the packaging from another company. So.
I think the sugar piece is interesting because I definitely know we ate sugar when we were younger, and I think withholding it completely from us, I've seen other families choose to do that, and while I totally understand why someone would choose to do that, because it is definitely not great for your child, it can lead to later on restrictive or overeating tendencies if a kid is not allowed to have, or at least to try something like sugar.
Well, I tried my best to give you good nutrition at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you did go to a party, you ate what you wanted. And that way I knew the balance was there for you.
Mm.
And it worked. Fitness, get them running as much as possible. Balance exercises, push-ups, keep a log of when they can run, how far they can run, how fast they can run,
Oh, that's really cute.
how many push-ups they can do in a minute, and have them keep track of it, and then see how much they improve as time goes on. Gives them something to reach for.
I think that's fitness, I feel like, is so good both from a lifelong habit standpoint because it is so important for us to move as humans, but also from a behavior standpoint, kids are a lot happier and a lot more balanced when they're able to use that energy. How did you find you use fitness kind of as a tool to make our lives better?
I knew that if you were irritable, starting to pick on somebody, that you needed to move and get out there and get some fresh air. So I just kind of gauged it. If it was raining outside, we'd do things inside the house. We'd run around the house. We'd play hide and seek in the house.
Or one of my absolute favorite things, we had a living room that had a kind of freestanding couch. And so mom would put like plywood basically on the rug, and the boys would either ride bikes or do scooters inside. Like just something really fun. I mean, it's not like it was a huge room or anything. It just was enough for them to make it around.
Go around in circles and do obstacles and have fun.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so when you are thinking about choosing a healthcare provider, how did you go about choosing somebody that was a good pediatrician or a pediatrician office?
When I had friends, when you were young, and I had friends that had children, I asked them where they went, definitely. And then I would call the doctor, and I would ask to go see the nurse's the office. I would go tour the office. I would see how they responded to me when I called, if they called back, how quickly I could get in with you, because emergency is an emergency. And that's how I did that.
That's awesome. Was there ever a really good experience that you had with a doctor?
Responsive. There was one time when you were very sick and your dad was traveling and you had a very high fever, and she did everything she could, and finally she had to give you a shot of penicillin, a very strong antibiotic, to get rid of whatever you had, and she was relentless in getting you healthy, and so it was wonderful. It really gave me a lot of comfort because it's very scary when you have a sick child.
Yeah, that sounds very scary.
Yes.
So you felt like you could trust her to be relentless in trying to find what was wrong and solving that problem.
Definitely. She went through all the symptoms, and it was very comforting. It got better.
Good.
It was good.
What about a time that you had a bad experience with a healthcare physician?
I did change pediatricians once with you when you were little, and what happened was we were at the mall, and you started screaming uncontrollably, and you never screamed like that. I knew something was horribly, horribly wrong. So I got in the car and drove you right to the office. I didn't have an appointment. I just went. And they saw me right away, but it was the nurse saw me, practitioner, and she just she looked in your ears and handed me a prescription.
Oh.
And I was like, wait a second. I knew you didn't have an earache and you didn't have a fever. And to me, it was just like, here, go away, Mom. And I was like, okay, done. And then I went to the next pediatrician that did take the time and solve the problem. So I think you have to trust yourself and your instincts and how the doctor treats you and how the nurse treats you, because you're going to be interacting with her too.
I love that story. I mean, I hate that story for me because I can't imagine the rage I would feel at somebody being so dismissive of my most precious child. But I love that point of really pushing to find the answer. I think one of the things, I again love our healthcare system, so grateful for healthcare providers. I know that they work so hard and are very overworked, so I don't mean this to be an indictment on anyone, but the way that our system is set up today and the way that medicine is practiced in the United States right now, it is so short windows of time for you to meet with your physician because they have so many other things that they need to do that it's so rare for them to actually be able to get to that bottom of why is this happening and then work with you to really create a plan on how to do it, how to solve that problem over time. And so I love that you did not just take that answer at face value, but really pushed to try to figure out what is really wrong and then what is the actual solution for this.
Right. And after I walked out of the office with a prescription, which I did not fill because I knew you didn't need that, and you were better. I don't know what it was. It could have been anything. You could have been sitting on something that was uncomfortable. Or...
No, but I love that you leapt into action. Definitely. That's wonderful.
I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about trusting your instincts when your children are sick, because you are your best children's advocate. You know them the best. You know how they're feeling, if they're not feeling right, if they're upset, if something's going on. The best thing you can do is to teach them to talk at the youngest age possible so they can tell you what's wrong. And then ask them questions. Keep a record of, if you know they're sick, keep a record of what's going on. What is their temperature at what time? What are they eating? What are they drinking? Are they throwing up? Or how sick are they? Lethargic. And take that to the doctor with you, because they're only going to spend a minute or two with your child, but you know them best. So just trust yourself and trust what you're going to tell the doctor. Also, when you do talk to the doctor, be calm, be emphatic, tell them the facts. Don't cry, don't get upset. Just tell them exactly what's going on and explain to them that this is where your child is feeling and you know what's happening and what can they help you with.
That's great. Okay, so the points that I got from that: teach your children to talk as early as you can so that they're able to communicate with you when something's wrong.
Yes.
And so that you can actually understand what's going on with them. Though I have also heard that people can understand their children's different cries. I mean, is that something that you experienced with us that...
Yes, I knew that if you screamed uncontrollably, something was very wrong. But if it was just irritation or you're hungry, I could tell that, I can solve that right now. But if there was a piercing scream or lethargy, then I knew that something was wrong, because that's not her personality. Ever.
So that's interesting. So there was the talking aspect, but then there's also just paying attention to your different child's cries.
Right.
Interesting. Okay. And so then the second thing on keeping a record, I love that, because I think, for adults now we have, I have my Fitbit and I use that to keep track of a lot of my own life and fitness. But for a child, I think writing down the different things is really helpful. So I really like that tip. Is there so you mentioned a couple of different things, but is there anything else that you would want to record when a child was sick?
Just sleep habits. If they're waking up during the night, are they in pain?
Then being calm and determined. I think that's so important, because letting that anxiety when your child is sick actually affect the way that you're interacting is not beneficial, but totally understandable.
Definitely.
How would you keep yourself focused in those situations?
You're trying to relay exactly what your child is feeling and how the doctor can help them, or the nurse practitioner. And for you to be able to go through exactly what they're feeling, what the symptoms are, what they were yesterday and how it changed today. Are they drinking? If they're not drinking, are they throwing up? These are all important things for dehydration and heat stroke and things. And just for you to be able to calmly explain and have written notes, it just shows your determination that something is wrong and you're very concerned.
How do you pay for it? So how do you think about health insurance and what is required to care for a family using health insurance?
I always liked PPO myself, if that's what you want to know, is it, because I want to be able to choose the doctor that I want to choose for you, that I research and they have the best knowledge and education to get to the bottom of what you need.
I think HSAs often will allow you to do that as well, and you can keep those healthcare funds and use them over time, depending on the situation. But yeah, hunting for insurance in this country is so challenging. I think you said something really interesting about finding providers through your friend network.
Yes.
Has that always been the primary way you found doctors?
Yes. Yes, that is the primary way, because they're going to have a personal knowledge of that person. Yes. I always had good luck with that.
Yeah, I think we've also had really good luck through our church community as well, because I think there's often one of the great things about being as a part of a faith community is that there are people of all different walks of life. And so you don't join it for that, but to have that, it really creates more of that network, because it can be really hard if you don't know somebody to get into the right place with somebody that genuinely has the motivation to, kind of chase that lead all the way down.
Yes.
So anything else you would want to say on health or healthcare?
No, that is
okay. That's really nice. Oh, okay. No, one other thing. In an emergency situation,
yes,
what are some of the things that you want? I know you always care. So mom is certified, so she's, disaster prepared and all of that. But what are some of the things that you carry around just on a day-to-day basis when you'd have kids to make sure that you had the basics of what they need from a healthcare standpoint?
Well, I'd always have, things to wash your hands in the car, medical kit, Band-Aids, things to clean out a cut, things to do a splint. And I just learned enough medical that if there was an emergency, I could take care of you till I got you to the hospital or a doctor.
Great. Love it. Keep your kids healthy. Love it. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hello. Just what their general purpose is for that day. Stupid.
No, I think that's good.
Put that.
And then I just got it right out of there. Okay, so we should go. Okay.
Sorry.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us again.
On Mom Explained. Start again.
On this. Okay, here we go. We're gonna
I think
do
I said
this.
sorry when you started. So
Oh no, you're fine. I'll do it again, mostly because I'm just awkward. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us again in our makeshift studio. We were asked to. Oh, I want to start again. Okay. All right, I'll start again.